And there are two reasons for this, minimum two reasons. One, this is on slightly longer than 30 years. So in small samples, things happen. But more importantly, think about the transaction costs of a portfolio in 1927 versus in 1992. I'm not even talking about now. In 1927, in order to be able to transact in any small cap stocks, you pretty much had to be one of the wealthy guys. And you paid a lot of commission unless you were one of the big rollers. Since you do volume, they kind of give you discounts per trade basis. I mean, those days, it wasn't even in percentage term. Each stock trade, whether you bought only $100 worth of stock or $1 million, you paid a fixed dollar amount. Typically, it was about $5 or so. And $5 was a lot of money back in 1927. And even now, it's not too bad. You could probably buy a six-pack of crappy beer with that, something like Bud Light. I don't know. Since I never drink those things, I don't consider them beer. They're beverages. But a second one is Farmer French's famous paper uh, that looked at size premium and premium on the value versus growth differential. It was published in 1992. Everybody saw using I mean, it's kind of a worst kept secret in Wall Street. We knew that there was a size premium, but these guys officially got the numbers. Uh, a lot of people started investing into small cap stocks, especially small investors, because ETFs on small cap stocks kind of started becoming available. For example, let's look at, uh, even though I can't download the data, doesn't mean I can't look at it. I think it was IWM. Yeah, this is Russell 2000. Uh, Russell is an index that has 3,000 stocks in it. Russell 2000 are the smallest 2,000 stocks. Okay. And this is the ETF for that. And let's see historical data. Come on. Let's do a max. All this is available since 2000. Okay. But you actually had small caps mutual funds even before that. So people started actually buying small cap stocks even as a passive strategy. Well, what happens when people start buying a certain asset class on a more frequent basis? Price goes up. When the price goes up, the expected returns come down. So that's pretty much what we're seeing.
Was it that, that 100-year study by Bodison? What's it? You know that name of the 100-year study that it started in 1920 something, and they put $1 into small cap,
Oh yeah. It makes a
large cap.
much bigger difference. We can actually calculate that.
Didn't it show that small cap brought the most returns over the
Yes,
100-year period?
yes, but
$20,000. I'm trying to remember. I've read about it.
but just like a marriage, they always you should always ask your uh, investing advisor, what have you done for me lately? I mean, yes, small caps have been the kings in 1927, but as I said, even your grandpa wasn't alive then. Okay, and the market in 1927 as an institutional character is very different. One, it was pretty much a game place for the big guys. Small guys could participate in it, but not much. Two, transaction costs were very high. So whatever those fictitious returns that we calculate, whenever I make these calculations, did I pay any commissions? Did I cross any bid offer spreads? No. Those are the actual transaction costs of running a portfolio. That's why you should look at these things through the returns of the ETFs themselves, because that is the actual realizable return or the funds themselves. Unfortunately, we didn't have small cap funds back those days, so we can't look at the actual returns. But since they were available, I could find small caps fund returns as early as late 80s, early 90s. In fact, Palma and friends started a mutual fund that invested only the top 20%, lowest 20% of the stocks.
So are you saying we have to look at the ETFs in comparison because they don't really have a load at all?
I mean, even if they don't have a load and management fees are almost nothing.
So we got to look at
Either way, it is an actual realizable strategy. These things that we do on the screen are nice for theoretical discussion, but there is a reason, among others, why the differential was that big. A, transaction costs were really high. So if you actually implemented these strategies in 1927, I don't think on a realized basis you would have made a 6-7% size premium. And B, as I said, since 1992, people actually realized, oh, there's a size premium. Why don't we invest into these things? Well, it kind of went away. Even if I looked at this since NASDAQ started, for example, let's do this. NASDAQ started in 1971. So instead of 1992, 71. So the last 55 years. What do you know? The story is not that different. Okay. The size premium is still, it's even a little bit less. This is about 50, almost 55 years worth of data, or 53 actually. So it's there, but it is not that significant. Don't get me wrong. I am not belittling that 1% difference. Do you know how much 1% difference can make over a 40-year retirement savings? Let's just do a simple calculation. 12% versus 13%. So we're going to do 1 plus the 12% raised to the power 40. So this says my $1 is going to grow into 93,000 and some change in 40 years. Or let's make this in real terms. So that would be about 9% versus 10. So on a purchasing power protected basis, my $1 is going to grow into 31 and a half. See what the 3% made at 9%, at 10%, that's 45. So that 1% looks small, but it actually means your retirement savings are going to be about 50% higher on a real basis. If inflation is a little bit less, let's say Fed's numbers, so 45 versus 65, right? So it does make a big difference. We have about 15 minutes. I'm going to show you one more differential. And you guys know about Warren Buffett, right? Berkshire Hathaway. He's known as the one of the kings of value investing. Value investing means for whatever reason, these companies have low price multiples, like low book price to book or low price earnings.
the low stock values.
Huh?
Low stock values.
Yeah, of course, low stock values relative to rest of the market. The growth ones are the high ones. For example, NVIDIA is a growth company. I think their latest forward PE ratio is 50 something. Okay. We're going to talk about these, I think, in chapter 6 or 7. They'll do valuation using multiples. On the other hand, Microsoft has a similar ratio that's around 30s. So, relatively speaking, Microsoft is a value company compared to NVIDIA. Of course, there are other companies where their price earnings ratios are in the single digits. And for a lot of different reasons, Warren Buffett always invests into those kinds of companies. All right. And since they never ever pay dividends or split the stock, we can know what happened to that stock. Yeah. So let's go to the RKA. That's the original one. So one share is trading at $721,000. You can actually buy this on Robinhood. They give you fractional shares. And let's look at historical data. Let's see how much they go back. Max.